funny guy. I love his content. I'm going to buy his book. Um, I want to buy his cookbook. But
But another
and that's
topic
a
we want to kind of jump in tonight
yeah.
before
Let's
we
get
get.
into that.
Let's touch on what's going on with Netflix of late. Now, granted, we've been hearing rumblings about this for a long while, but Netflix is going to finally do away with password sharing. So, if you have an account that you share with somebody, that's in another. If you've got hoes in different area codes who are using your Netflix account, be prepared to pay $6 per user additionally on top of your regular monthly fee.
Yeah,
Uh,
the Netflix is current flip. They've been flip flopping more than a politician. That because they've been like yes, no, maybe yes, no, maybe no, yes, no,
well,
yes.
they
We're gonna do it here
tried
and
to
here and
do
here.
this a couple years ago, and obviously there was an outpouring and outcry. But here's the thing when it comes to the history of Netflix. Netflix started as a DVD Blu ray service where you got stuff in the mail. Streaming only came later. It was weird because they even as early as basically the PlayStation 2, there were prototype discs for both PlayStation 2 and PSP, so you could stream your Netflix movies via that disc. They even had ones for the Wii, and now those discs are worth a ton of money, which I thought is kind of interesting. But like streaming was something that you initially got for free with your monthly membership of no matter how many discs you put out each month. And they slowly and progressively starting to decrease how many discs you could get out because they noticed they were getting a ton of viewership on streaming. Then they tried to separate the DVD from the streaming aspect. Now they're finally, as of September, telling anybody who still gets DVDs to pound stand because they're finally doing away with that completely. So if you're up in Alaska or BFE where your internet sucks and you used to get the Netflix mail service where you got your discs and your Blu-rays, that's going the way of the dinosaur as of September. Now, again, they've threatened to do this in the past, but that might change because there has been a bit of
So
a.
with the DVD ask, with the DVD, sorry to interrupt, with the DVD aspect, it might be one of the few things that they kind of continue because, or if they continue it, um, or they continue it, it's going to be in select areas, meaning you have to be in Alaska or you have to be in uh, Pig's Tail, Wyoming, or something like that.
Well,
Someplace.
see, with that being the kind of vulture I am of media, I can only imagine the massive sale of DVDs and Blu-rays that they're going to be having to sell from their back catalog. Because if they're not doing it statewide anymore, and it's only limited to a few areas, they're going to liquidate a lot of those physical media assets and definitely sell them. So I'm curious as to like in September if there's suddenly going to be a site on Netflix where you can click to buy certain movies. And I'm going to be all over that because when Redbox did that with video games, you could get new video games right when they discontinued having gaming on Redbox. You could get brand new games that only came out a couple weeks before when the sale started for like $5, and it was crazy. Um, but I'm curious about that aspect if and when it happens because they've tried to do it before because they tried to integrate a third party and then they said no, and then it's interesting because that's
And the
what
thing is, if
started
they
it.
do sell off a bunch of the movies that they have, the physical copies, it's going to literally short the market. Meaning, clean over. What movie is this? Oh, Real Genius. Okay. Um, I doubt this DVD copy of Real Genius is worth anything.
Right.
But there are copies out there of, uh, I know offhand, Dogma is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot find a DVD or Blu-ray copy of Dogma that's current. You cannot go online on Amazon and buy Amazon Voodoo or Apple TV and buy a digital copy of Dogma because it is the rights to it are strictly owned by the one, the only, the perverted asshole Harvey Weinstein.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of doing not just jail time, but he's doing this with the rights.
It's kind of like the same thing with Fright Night Part 2. The DVD for that has gone for ridiculous prices, like 90, $100, $200, because
But
one of the producers with the films who owns the rights was involved, well, was one of the victims of those two killers that off their parents.
the thing is, if Netflix, my point is, if Netflix has, let's say, 1,000 copies of Dogma, if Dogma, or let's again use this copy of Real Genius, let's say this copy is worth $50, and they have 10,000 copies of Real Genius, all of a sudden that goes on the market. This goes down from $50 to maybe $10 or $2 because all that content, all those DVDs are now on the market.
But here's the thing with that, and I hate to be the shady person here, but Netflix's return policy has always been interesting. Now, I'm not saying me personally have ever done this, but I am saying that there have been a few people that have kept DVDs and say that they've mailed them back because they were particularly rare titles, and they just never
The
mailed them back.
the Alf miniseries that kind of tied things up is one of those DVDs that if your name is on the list to get that DVD, you're not getting it because so many people have those who have rented it and
Never
got the
returned it.
DVD in the mail, the set in the mail. They're holding on to it. They don't want to let it go because no one else,
Has it.
they can't find copies of it. So you don't know exactly what the story is or anything like that.
Again, not saying that I have done such things, but such things occur.
You're also known to help out Uncle Tony in a way sometimes too.
Yes, yes.
But
There are ways that things can be copied and saved, but the problem of it is people want original copies because no
yeah,
matter how often you reproduce a DVD, let's say, or a Blu-ray, it's not going to be the same quality as the disc that you had.
right.
But I will say, ironically, I did recently pick up Dogma on PSP UMD
But
for $10. So.
in regards to the whole streaming aspect, is that it's not just what they're not looking for is that if you have, let's say, it's you and Willow in your house,
Mm-hmm.
you Willow and Al in the house. You might have three profiles on your TV for that.
Right.
One for you, one for Willow, one for Al. Netflix thinks that's fine. That three profiles, one TV. What they're looking at is IP,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where is pissing off a lot of folks that know IP. Meaning, if the IP might change, meaning when I watch Netflix on my PS4, my IP when Netflix sees that, it might see it as a different IP, therefore a different account. Yet it's the same account. Or if Willow watches Netflix in his room, oh, sorry, I apologize, no disrespect to Willow, in their room,
Right.
it might show up as a completely different account. Yet Willow is watching their chosen content on their personal device.
But so far, none of the other streaming services have really dug into this a whole lot. Like they'll put a cap on how many different people you can have use your profile,
Right.
which I think Netflix should do because, hey, if I have, for example, a premium account with Netflix and I can have up to 6 users with the same whatever, then I
Right.
should be able to let up to 6 people use that without an additional charge, or 3 or 4 or whatever the cap is. And the thing of it is with this is my opinion of it. The only reason I found out that like Netflix was going to be doing away with this is I was considering maybe getting back into doing the DVDs. Now, when I had started their DVD program, it was five at a time a month for $9.99. And of course, that was back when I was running the old copy mill where I would rip my copy from the original, mail it back, and then that way I was constantly getting new movies on a regular basis. Um, I just watched them at my leisure. But you can't do that anymore because even if you signed up for DVD within the last couple of years, I think the most you can have out at a time is 2. And it's still like 10 or $15 a month. And granted, yes, you could potentially get more a month than just those 2, but it just depends on how long it takes to get back, what all movies are in your queue, what they're going to send you next. And so you may only get, let's say, 4 or 6 movies a month if you're lucky. And when it was at
Yeah.
5 at a time, you could get a ton of movies all at once. I can see why they kind of cut back on it, but also you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. But there for a while, I was debating it. I'm like, Redbox does charge this amount, to rent a one off of a movie, whereas I could sign up for Netflix and Blu ray. And then all of a sudden, yeah, we're going to be ending this service in September.
Yeah.
It's like,
The
there's no
other
point in
argument
me
in regards to the streaming aspect is not just the possible of different IPs in the house, is that I've heard reports of folks to kind of bring things down to more of a uh, instead of upper class, but a more of a middle class type thing. There are folks known in this country known as snowbirds. They travel something. They during the summer they live in northern states like Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York, Maine, in and around there. And during the winter months, they move closer south,
right.
like Florida, maybe Arizona, someplace that's typically warmer. It's mostly the older generations that are doing this, but that's where the whole aspect is like, hey, in my state of, like here in West Virginia, you might have Glow Fiber or um, Xfinity. In Florida, you might have something completely different. And Netflix, again, sees that as, hey, you're sharing your password. No, it's my password. It's my account. I just live in 2 different states. During the year. I live in 2 different houses. You're in essence charging me for 2 accounts. Now you charge me an extra $6 a month for an additional account, yet it's the same account, same profile. It shouldn't matter, but you have a lot of, and this is where the whole flip flop thing is coming on. It's like, oh, we won't do it here in the States. We won't, but we'll do it elsewhere. And yet people
Exactly.
um, keep bringing up the whole aspect of, but in years past, Netflix has endorsed password sharing. So,
Exactly.
but then
And
again,
it's a mess because like right now, I mean, Disney Plus isn't enforcing anything like this yet, nor is Hulu, which is part of Disney. HBO Max isn't doing that. And to me, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I understand putting a user cap, like you can only have this many users that are using it, and then you can have like a separate pin or a separate login for each user. And I think that would be a better way of handling that than just saying no extra IPs. And it's just going to be problematic. But right now, they've
to
gotten
kind
to
of
the point where they've made many changes and have decided, hey, um, we've gotten away with, let's say, 10 or 15 changes within the last 10 or 15 years because they've been around since 25 years now. And most people, yeah, there's an initial dip, but most people come back from the service that we're presently offering.
to kind of bring up a point with you, because the question you brought up in chat is that could it bring back TV rental stores?
Right. And I would
Now,
love to see that happen. I know there's been jokes and rumors of Blockbuster coming back, but
I
I'm gonna
don't
be
think.
honest, I didn't like Blockbuster's content. I was more about mom and pop content because they always had
Now,
fixes to
here's
that.
the thing. Granted, places like mom and pop, I would love to see a mom and pop shops come back, make a comeback. That way, you'll have companies like the independent places like Slasher 15 and Darkstone Entertainment make a surge in, see local filmmakers be in rental stores, but with the whole, we kind of have it in a way.
Right.
Uh, uh, the Is it a brick and mortar independent mom and pop shop? No, it is Redbox. They are everywhere. They are in Walmart. They're in front of Dollar Generals. They're in
But the
um
problem with Redbox, and this is one thing that I can say 100% certain, if you want to watch a classic that for some reason isn't popular right now, you aren't getting it from Redbox. Like, let's say, for example, I want to watch the original Ghostbusters. Not to say that I don't already own it on several different formats, but if I wanted to, I could not go to a local Redbox and get the original Ghostbusters. I want to watch Casablanca. You show me a Redbox that has Casablanca, and I'll show you that you're full of shit. Um, Name any other movie that's not trending or popular right now that doesn't have a remake or a sequel to it. The likelihood of finding it at a Redbox is going to be slim to none.
and the
A mom and
good thing
pop
is
video, for example, like just a little bit above where you live. Is it above or below? But Hancock, Maryland. Because when I lived in Berkeley Springs, West V, I would ride out to Hancock, Maryland to rent movies. There is a huge video store there. It's still mom and pop. It's still open now. Um, and they have every format you can imagine: VHS, beta, laserdisc, DVD, Blu-ray, everything. And so if there's something weird or odd that you want to watch, chances are they have it. And if they don't, they'll have it there in 2 weeks. And to me, I'm like, you can't get that service from Redbox. You can't get that from Netflix.
right.
You can't get that from Vudu because even Vudu has limitations on what titles you can get. And yeah, you can sync your YouTube with your movies anywhere and with, you know, Vudu movies anywhere and
And
YouTube.
there's things right now that I even I had the physical aspects of those movies, but
Not the space.
because I have space issues. It's where I can fight the aspect. I understand the aspects and arguments for physical copies, but with my space being so small, I could also argue the aspects of digital copies. And what irks the hell out of me is that, and not just that, it's like the aspect, one of the ups of digital copies is that, hey, if I'm laid up in the hospital again for 2 weeks, all I have to do is, if I have this on me, my tablet or my phone, I could just pull up Vudu and I could watch a shit ton of movies, TV shows that I have on my Vudu account or Netflix or Disney Plus without, worry. But the downside is you have movies like Pump Up the Volume, Night of the Comet, uh, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, going all the way down the line that
Oh,
have
Night of the
not yet
Comet.
made it to Amazon, haven't made it to Vudu, haven't made it to Netflix, haven't made it to Disney, et cetera. The only place you can watch the old school Muppet Show is on Disney Plus, though. There is no
I think all of
DVDs.
Alf right now is setting on Shout Factory, and so is Night of the Comet.
Is
That's
Shout
a
Factory similar to
it's
Vudu,
a
or is it similar to?
it's a free streaming service.
I might have to one of these days invest in uh, a Roku device because we are going to visit the store. You said it was Shout.
Shout Factory. Shout with an explanation point. And that should be one of the apps or streaming services in one of your things. Tubi has a lot of movies. Pluto TV has a lot of movies that are free.
No, no, it's not on. That's the thing is that Roku has a lot of apps that will have it, but the Xbox and PlayStation will not have Shout Factory.
Hold on here. Xbox Shout streaming.
I know. I just looked it up on my Xbox and it's not there.
If you can get on their webpage, you can just go to Shout Factory TV.
But I would need a Roku device. I don't have a Roku TV.
Oh, hold
So
on. Online, Shout Factory or smartphone, tablet, connected TVs via apps. Huh, that's strange. Because I could swear I had Shout on my PlayStation at one time. I know Popcorn Flicks and stuff was on Xbox for a while.
that's the thing. Popcorn was on. I remember seeing Popcorn. I remember seeing a whole mess more of uh, video stuff on both PlayStation and Xbox. And all of a sudden, when things kind of moved over to Xbox One and then on, or from PS3 to PS4, a lot of the apps did not make it for some weird reason.
Hmm.
So, and it's just like, well, that kind of sucks. But
But yeah, no, like once you get a cheap Roku or something, like the world is your oyster. Because I can tell you now, like I watch a heck of a lot more YouTube, Voodoo. I watch a lot of Pluto TV and Tubi, Tubi. That is a great app too. And yeah, some of them have commercials, but for a free streaming,
yeah,
you know,
and apparently it's not on Google Play.
that's weird. I'll have to send you some links later, but there are
Yeah,
alternatives. But to me, even some of those alternatives don't have options where you can download the movie if you know you're going to be somewhere without a steady connection. And that can be a problem, especially with streaming. Because I know in West Virginia, at least not in the Martinsburg area, maybe, but when I lived in bumfuck Egypt, West Virginia, Berkeley Springs, like the options for internet was very limited. We had like a satellite service for internet, and just like satellite TV, it would rain, you get snow on the dish, you were fucked.
yeah. That's a sad thing. But and the thing is, right now, if it wasn't still hard to do, and if more people would go out to do it, because depending on who you listen to and a lot of folks are saying, well, services like Disney, Hulu, Vudu, Amazon, and Netflix are starting to die now. They've
Yes.
seen their run back in 2020, and they saw that and said, "Hey, we're all inside. We're all watching streaming services. Congratulations, we're all making all this money." And all of a sudden, here it is, 2, 3 years later, and everybody's going out to do stuff. They're going back to the movies. Like with the Super Mario Brothers.
Evil Dead
People when they,
Rise, because that was
you know,
originally supposed to go to HBO Max, and they were like, no, because based on the festival buzz, they're like, it's going straight to theaters. You're gonna have to wait
so
before it hits HBO Max.
so you have more and more movies going back to theaters because people are going back to theaters, and a lot of streaming services from again Disney Plus to HBO Max are kind of scrambling uh, and pulling out here. What do we do? We're losing money. We're losing. Investors are pissed. What do we do? And yeah, you're doing this to yourselves. You bit off more than you can chew. And
And they're
the
spread too
thing
thin
is, they
because
spread themselves too thin, and it's going to be hard for folks to go back to a video uh, rental place like in a mom and pop either in Hagerstown, Chambersburg, or
Hagerstown still has
Pintail,
a running
Alaska.
store.
Uh, but it'd be easy to do if you had the money. You
And
walk into
even
a pawn shop. You walk into a pawn shop, clear them out.
and even like a local libraries these days have some videos and Blu-rays and
Yeah,
DVDs. Yeah, it may not be the latest release. You might be on a wait list for something really good. Heck, I even think they do video games now in some libraries.
yeah. The Martinsburg Library does not just books; they do comics, manga, videos, both Blu-ray and regular DVD, and
Mm-hmm.
they do video games. They have PS3, PS4, Xbox 360. I think they got rid of the PS3 stuff, but they have PS4. I think they have PS4 stuff, Xbox One stuff, and Switch stuff. They might still have Wii, but I haven't wandered that section fully. So they have a wide variety of stuff. I know the the one of the extra Xboxes. I had the black one that HDMI port fizzled out on me.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it to a friend of mine and like, hey, if you're able to fix it, wipe the drive and it's your. If you're able to fix it, it's yours. Just wipe the drive because he had a for the longest while he's been using an old 360,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's an upgrade for him.
Yeah.
And he wiped the drive. He put his account on it, and he's having a blast. And so he's because that Xbox One X, not Series X, folks. Xbox One X has like I think yours that I
Yeah.
gave you has a drive in it. He's able to wander up to the library because he's a little bit more broke than I am, and he's able to check out a DVD, a game, pop it in his system, and play it off the bat.
Off he
So
goes.
he's ecstatic, and he has a friend that he's doing the same thing that you're kind of doing with me. Is that his buddy has a bunch of games and has X Game Pass that allows him to
Mm-hmm.
mooch off that way. So he's he's having a good old time. I haven't seen him around the usual haunts because he's been at home partaking in a lot of the old, not old, but a lot of the Xbox One stuff. As a matter of fact, I think he might be, yeah, he's on.